Yeah, I agree with like everything you just said in terms of wanting to make things non-traditionally and, finding ways to get art out there, even if it means, breaking some conventional rules like scripting or, mixing like natural with planned. I have well, and for one thing, I think it's really great that you explained the inspiration from those Iranian movies, because that I think that brings a great context. I never would have thought that unless you told me. I'll have to look
Yeah.
into that wave of cinema. With yeah, with Pretend That You Love Me, when you started to integrate the real world into the movie world, it really blew me away, because I realized that the story and the sorts of feelings that were going to be transmitted, it was just going to be elevated to a whole new level that I didn't anticipate with the initial story. So I think that you were really successful with that. And with Island, I have not. I feel bad saying this. I have not had a chance to finish it. I had to stop watching it just because of how my day was scheduled. But I watched like the first half hour, and same thing. I think that your resourcefulness really comes through with how you make things. And I went to film school here in Arizona, and I think film school really drives a lot of conventions into your head in terms of you have to do this way and you have to check these boxes or else people won't like it or people won't get it, your idea won't come across. So I think there's a lot of people out there who want to make art, but they take maybe 5 times as long to get an idea out there as they could, because they're carefully premeditating
Hmm.
when they could just be trying stuff and making stuff. So I think it's really incredible that you're able to make stuff at such a high quality without scripts.
Mm. And I think that just comes with a lot of practice. I think I always say I'm not doing anything like anyone else couldn't do. Obviously I have years of experience and practice, but I have a Black Magic pocket camera, and I don't do any lighting ever. I hate lighting. I just use available lights or a natural light. And it's just like I've always said, get rid of the stuff that annoys you about filmmaking, because there are these conventions. It's like, oh, you do need lights. You got to make it look like a film. It's like, no, why can't it just look like life? Why can't I just capture like a room dimly lit or not looking like cinematic? And so I hate lighting because I think it slows everything down, and I try my best to be incredibly efficient, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's important. And so I got rid of lighting. I didn't like writing scripts, so I got rid of that. And then I just practiced with what was left, and figured out what can I create. I got rid of these things that were making it a bore for me, so now it should be fun. So let's do that, And
Yeah.
I think my shorts and features feel very different, but they come from a similar school of improv and make it up as you go. And I think it really just translates pretty directly because you could film a 2-3 minute short in a day, so just make 20, 30 of those and you have an hour long feature,
Yeah.
that loosely connect or string together. And I'm excited at the prospect of anyone who saw my film getting inspired in any way to create something similarly, who might have been bogged down by the conventions prior.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what excites me most about having an audience now, is being able to show people this alternative.
Yeah. I when I made my capstone film for film school, I really enjoy being a director of a project, but I also really enjoy being a cinematographer. I'm filming myself right now with a Blackmagic Pocket as well, and I tend to
Nice.
I tend to use available light a lot as well, just because I like how it looks, and a camera like this can do well with it. And when I was I've just always thought I wasn't really the best writer, so if I finally came up with the idea for a story that I was excited about, then I was so excited to have a story to tell, but then the next problem was, writing a dialogue that doesn't sound bad when people say it. So when I made my capstone film, I just decided to make it silent, and I just thought, how can I tell this whole story only using images and actions? And right now, I'm making a new short film where similarly, it's gonna be very abstract and kind of just silent, and I'm just trying to capture a lot of really nice images that I think when weaved together paint something really nice. And I've definitely gone through thoughts of like, is this going to translate, is this something that people will enjoy? But I've always kind of thought similar to what you were saying, that if you just try to make something from the heart and tap into like a specific emotion or point of view, I think, like you said, people are kind of inherently interesting and relatable, and the way that we see things is very unique, so it I think seeing people do the sort of stuff that you do is definitely inspiring to a lot of video makers, because it makes them realize, okay, I don't need to overcomplicate this, I can just go make something.
That, and there is this element where I call everything on my channel films, and that's very intentional. Because I think there is this. I went to film school too, and I'd love to see your films. If they're on your channel, I'm sorry,
Sure.
I haven't.
Oh no, it's okay, it's okay. I'll email it over.
Yeah, but I went to film school, and there was so much discouragement. Not just from like the the conventions, but from some of the faculty, from some of the professors, and there's equally a lot of encouragement. I don't want to sound bad. I had a lot of great friends and a lot of great professors, but there was kind of this bummer attitude about things. And it's like, well, yeah, you're gonna have to be a PA for 10 years, and you're gonna have to, and it's like, oh well, that's how it goes,
Yeah.
And then people who like I made a movie, like my movie, I don't use crews ever. Like it's literally just me and my friends, and if I need a shot of me, I just hand it to the closest friend, and we don't like have like roles and labels. It's just, and that's why my films end with a film by whole list of everyone you see, because
Gotcha.
Everyone does a little everything. I do all the editing just because that's the tedious work part that I don't want to make other people do, and
Yeah,
I get an enjoyment out of it, and but where was I going with this?
You were just talking about how in school sometimes they can be a little bit discouraging, and the whole PA for 10 years thing, so you're just being resourceful with the people around you.
Yeah, I was shocked they didn't pitch an alternative, and I watch more YouTube than anything else. I don't watch much TV, but I watch YouTube, and I love watching movies. I wish I had more time, but like YouTube is just this thing, and I'm like, how is this not pitched in film school as filmmaking?
Yeah.
Especially if like I went to Pratt in Brooklyn, and a lot of the professors came from more experimental backgrounds where it's like a film can be anything, A film can be a shot of a lemon. I forget who did that. It was like a 7-minute shot of a lemon or something.
Yeah.
Or like, those classic experimental films. And I'm like, if this is a film, then anything that's audio and visual is a film. So there is this discouragement inherently online of, oh, you're making videos, you're a YouTuber, and there's a connotation with that it's like, that's not as serious, that's not as artful. And I think just take it, and I had some people like, why do you call it films? I'm like, have you seen some of the like most famous like shorts and experimental shorts? It's like anything's a film.
Yeah.
And I call it films because I think it signals to art in a way that video doesn't. And I think people want to feel like an artist. They want to feel like a creator beyond like, pure content, and there's nothing wrong with content in the idea that you're putting a lot of stuff out. I think that's valuable too. But I think people want to feel like an artist, and limiting them to, oh, you just make videos feels very discouraging in a way that you're making films. It's like you're already doing it. So great. Chase that, and that is really the heart of why I call everything films. And they're videos too, I'm not in denial that they're videos. They're videos, they're sketch comedy, they're skits, and they're films. And like, I don't know why. There's a lot of people you'll run into that are kind of eager to label things.
Yeah.
Eager to like. Yeah.
I think with the internet, there's definitely a sense of, pretentious police where they think like, oh, this guy thinks what he's doing is a film. This isn't a film. And I think that attitude is really lame because, it's just, shooting down what somebody's doing. And I completely agree with you. Like all this stuff is filmmaking. And